Aringa, drop. Молодец. 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 Today, I wanted to demonstrate how basenjis are different from many other dogs when it comes to training, and specifically training the behavior around food. Common issues like counter-surfing, getting into rubbish bin, stealing from the table, and picking up on walks is probably the #1 concern of most basenji owners, myself included. I totally believe that somewhere those remarkable basenjis exist, whose owners were able to successfully train them out of this behavior without the use of aversive. In this video, I'm only sharing my own experience and interpretation of it. I will start by demonstrating a training approach by popular dog trainer Susan Garrett that relates to teaching the dog to behave around food. She teaches to use different marker words to indicate to the dog where the food is coming from the handler or on the ground. For example, if I say yum, it means that the dog should stay in its place and food will be delivered to them by hand. And if I say search, in Russian I use command ishi, it means that the dog should get food on the ground that I point to them. Ishi. One of the objectives is to teach the dog that it should just ignore any food around it in the environment unless the owner tells them to get it. Good boy. I was using this approach with Aringa, and he is quite good at following the marker words. Ishi. Молодец, good boy. Ishi. 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 Yum. Yum. Молодец. Yum. Susan Garrett's key promise is that by practicing this game in a variety of different settings and situations, the dog eventually understands that all the potential food it can see and smell in the environment is just not its business and should be ignored unless the owner tells them to go search for it. Okay, she. I can see all basenji owners are already skeptically smiling, but let's see what Aringa will do. Here I purposely drop bits of treats on the floor, but Aringa still thinks that we are in a training session. He is still engaged and obeys perfectly. Now I leave some treats on the edge of the counter and walk away. Aringa still behaves great. Now I leave something more yummy at the edge and walk away. Aringa is still with me. But see what happens if I get my phone. Aringa is so clever, he understands that this is no longer a training session. I am preoccupied with my own thing and nothing stops him from stealing this food. Now I engage him again with a command, stay, and put the plate with the food on the floor where he doesn't see it. This is to mimic the situation where he just discovers some food on the floor. He didn't see me putting it there. Yes. And I'm not telling him anything. There is no command. Okay. Because he thinks we started training again, he perfectly ignores it. Good boy! Молодец! Иди сюда. Good boy, yes. Now let's see what happens if I tell him the training is over. I tell him to perform a trick, and then I say «всё», which means we stopped training. Ну-ка, twist, twist, молодец, yes. Good boy, всё, молодец, всё. And without any second thought, he goes straight to this forbidden food. Basenjis are so smart, they read very subtle cues to understand the context. And each time they evaluate and decide whether or not to go for this food. As you can see, it didn't really help us solve the problem with counter-surfing or scavenging or picking up foods. Aringa totally can tell the difference in context, and if he knows that I control the food and it's our training environment or otherwise where he knows I can give him a command, he plays by the rules. But as long as I don't have control, he thinks that it's whatever he can get, it's his lawful catch. Basenjis are independent hunters and scavengers by nature. Their primitive instincts are not to be dependent on people for food and secure their own dinner. Stealing food is in their blood. They will look for any opportunity to steal. And even if they're not successful, the process itself is so rewarding they won't stop trying. And because it's impossible to always control the environment 100%, they are bound to be successful in some of the clever attempts. Trying to train my dogs off their scavenging instinct is a losing game. I purposely worked hard on them to develop their food drive, so they respond positively to the reward-based training. But on the downside, their extremely high food motivation only stronger fuels their primitive instincts. So while I accepted that I will never win this battle with my dogs, there are still some helpful tips that somewhat worked for us, which I will share with you in our next video.